We have breaking Minnesota Vikings news as the Minnesota Vikings just re-signed their star cornerback Byron Murphy Jr. in a huge splash that we've been waiting for on the first day of free agency, and the Vikings master plan is beginning to be executed. We're going to be talking about this move and what this means going forward for the Minnesota Vikings, and we could not wait for this. This was the move that all Vikings fans have been waiting for, and really, the start of the new season begins now. But before we get into this video, very quickly, we know that 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot for all of your Minnesota Vikings news, you're in the right spot. We're going to have so much stuff over the next few days. You will not want to miss it. All your Vikings news will be right here. But Griffen, it finally happened. We mentioned it about 2 hours ago in the last video. Byron Murphy Jr. has signed an extension, according to Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport. The Vikings Pro Bowl cornerback Byron Murphy Jr. has agreed to terms on a monster 3-year, $66 million contract, which is $22 million AAV. This is a massive, massive deal, and this one, even though the cap is very, very high, this is something that you could not have paid enough money to get. Before we get into the deep dive of this, Griffen, what do you feel about this signing? I'm sure we're all happy about it, but how much do you think this means to the Minnesota Vikings?
The first thing I said when you texted me that this happened, let's go! We finally got it. This was the biggest one that we were wanting. Vikings fans, you guys wanted a splash. Was this a big enough one? Ryan Kelly, we got him. We went and got Isaiah Rodgers. You guys wanted a bigger splash. Here we go. Byron Murphy, boom. This is what we've been wanting all day. This is what we've been waiting for all day. Even with Theo Jackson being re-signed, we were kind of talking about it. All right, it's going to come down to, all right, is it Byron Murphy or Cam Bynum? Which one are we losing? Then we lost we signed Isaiah Rodgers earlier today. Then we lost Cam Bynum. That was clearly the writings on the wall that it was going to be Byron Murphy. And now we can go out, we can go get a safety in case we lose Harrison Smith. But I feel so much better because after the first day of free agency, our offensive line is looking a lot better. And now our secondary is finally looking, it's not as great as it was last year. We still have some pieces we got to go get. Don't get me wrong. But having Byron Murphy back, I feel a big weight off of my chest. This is a big price tag that even before we started recording the last video, when we pulled up that they had 55 million or 55 million left, I said to you, I was like, now we have the money to go get Byron Murphy. And we went out and did it. We didn't know what time it was going to come in at, but we were hoping it was going to be before Wednesday. We finally got it, and I am so pumped. I can't wait to get started for this next season, and we haven't even gotten through the rest of free agency yet.
Yeah, this was definitely a big weight lifted off the shoulders of Vikings fans. We knew that this was realistically, I don't want to say the only one, but the real only big signing that the Vikings needed to make, re-sign him, and you go from there. You know, losing a star cornerback is not easy to replace, especially someone who is now making Pat Surtain money on that level, according to, this monetary side of things. This is a huge signing, and when we're looking at his his market value, $22.1 million, and I am honestly, genuinely very surprised that we got him at his market value. I figured that this would have been a battle to try and sign him. I really was expecting maybe 23, 24, a little bit above it, but having him at 22 for 3 years is something that I am totally fine with, and I honestly think could be a steal when it comes down to, the more experience he gets over the next few seasons in this Brian Flores scheme, because that's where we really saw him succeed. We saw him succeed in this defense, and it was very evident that this was not just a fluke. This was game in, game out. He was elite on the field. Quarterbacks didn't want to throw over to his area. That was evident, and we're really seeing what influence he has on the opposing offense for just being on the field. Now, I want to pull up his stats as well, because last year was an excellent year. 17 games played, 6 interceptions. I believe he was one of the top or tied for the top or something in the league for corners in interceptions, but everything that he did last season was right. Obviously, corners aren't easy to come by, especially the Vikings right now, where we have, I'll pull this one up. Not very many, I guess is the best way of saying it. And Byron Murphy Jr., I think, was the biggest one. But Griffen, now that we're looking at him locked up, now we're looking at this current cornerback room here, Byron Murphy Jr. leading this. We have other moves to make. Obviously, this is just the beginning, but now we have the draft, we have the rest of free agency, and there's a lot of moves that are still going to be made by the Minnesota Vikings. Before we get into the rest of the cap we have now with Byron Murphy Jr.'s, we'll get into that in the math side of things here in a little bit, but what kind of other moves do you think they're going to make? Do you think they're going to see a corner in free agency, the draft, or do you think we may trade for one? What do you see for the rest of this quarterback room for next season?
I could see us, excuse me, I could see us signing and trading for and saying drafting for one. Sorry, I can see us going out and signing a guy like Charvarius Ward, like some of these other guys that are still available. Greg Rosenthal of NFL Network has posted a great list of guys that are still available. There's still some guys on that list I would love to see Minnesota go for because I think that they are going to be great for this team. And I think there's guys in the draft too. Malachi Starks is one that we keep talking about time and time again. If Miami doesn't get him, we absolutely should jump on him. I think he fits in perfectly with this team, especially because he can be a Swiss Army knife that can cycle between playing corner and playing safety. And if we lose Harrison Smith, that's going to be very critical to go along with Theo Jackson as well. And that opens the door for going to get Javon Holland as well from Miami, who would fit in perfectly within this Minnesota team. I know he's not a corner, but when we're talking about safeties and we're talking about this secondary, safety is going to be a big key that they need to address to make sure this secondary room looks very solid. So as much as I want to see Harrison Smith back, if we have to pass, if he retires, like I said in our last video, amazing career for him. He deserves all the praise that he gets. So now you can go out and get Javon Holland because he's one of the next best guys available. As much as Byron Murphy is expensive, we still got room to keep spending. Let's keep going. Kwesi, don't stop. I know your contract extension's coming up. You're not so worried about that. You want this team to be ready for the future. Let's keep it going. Let's keep going let's keep backing up those Brinks trucks.
Yeah, and that's a good kind of way to bring it into the money side of things here. The Minnesota Vikings at the time before this signing had 56 million. So now we can pretty much cut 22 off of this, bringing them down to a little 34 million. And that's still a lot of money to be able to spend here in free agency. And we know that there could be another secondary side of things. We could have, a pass rusher. Maybe they go and get another guard in free agency. Will Fries has been an option that we were talking about. He's about 12 million, so that would take another big chunk out of it, which would leave you around 20. But there are options. Of course, the draft is going to be something the Vikings are going to need to utilize with those rookie contracts over that time. Paying elite talent at minimum contracts was the Vikings' plan. We saw that with J.J. McCarthy, and now that's being able to get us where we are now. Being able to re-sign Byron Murphy Jr. If Sam Darnold was currently on this team, re-signed, Byron Murphy Jr. would also be gone along with Cam Bynum. So the Vikings have made this plan evident. They know that they're going to be signing more players with this money, keeping the cap space high by signing a lot of these star talent and then getting extra pieces to build around them. So I think that this is a very, very good, I'm going to say start, even though, we're day one in, we've already made quite a few moves. This is a great start to free agency, and especially with what they have left and the draft, things are really playing into Kwesi's hands to make, one of the best off seasons in Minnesota Vikings history. And the time is now, as you mentioned. The Super Bowl window is open, it's closing, but it's only getting bigger now by these moves, by getting these younger guys, by getting these rookie contracts. We're creating a lot of opportunity here for the Minnesota Vikings, and they need to do it. After last season, we can't end on that. We have to get another push for it. Byron Murphy Jr. is just the start of this, but obviously we have a lot more moves to be covering over the next few days. Hopefully we have a few more tomorrow, and I say we will have a few more tomorrow if Kwesi's still putting his foot on the gas, but I think this was the one move that I really needed to see to get that weight off my shoulders. So let free agency ride now. That's what I needed to see, and we finally have it. But Griffen, do you have anything else before we finish the video off here?
I'm happy that I can close my night out and be relaxed. This was something that I definitely was, genuinely, I was stressed about this. If we were going into tomorrow and we hadn't re-signed Byron Murphy, let alone into Wednesday, I was going to be super stressed and I was going to be huffing on some stuff for a while. So it was going to be some very stressful moments, and it was going to be something that Minnesota definitely needed to get done. I'm so happy that we're going to be having Byron Murphy back. I can't wait. This is just making me more and more amped for the draft to see how the secondary is going to look. It's making me more excited for Wednesday and even tomorrow because I don't think Minnesota's done. There's still some UFAs that we can go out and go get before that open market starts on Wednesday. So there's going to be a lot of moves to look for. I can't wait. This is just, I'm wanting to play a few games of Madden right now just because I'm so amped and I want football back so bad that I am just ready for this season to start. I know we still have a long way to go, but this is the joys of being a Vikings fan. This is where we're in that blissful, happy period where we get to enjoy life before reality rears its ugly head and we have to go back to being regular Vikings fans when the season starts.
Yeah, the free agency is well underway, and the Vikings have already made their mark, but we have so much more to go, and you're not going to want to miss it. Be sure to hit the sub button. Join us here on this off-season journey that hopefully will go down in history as the one that got us our first Super Bowl, but that will be time to tell. You're not going to want to miss it, so be sure to hit that sub button. That's all we got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well, but we're signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.